Cicero, what are your goals for 2025? What are your reading goals? Do you have any? Do you have any at all? No? No thoughts, head empty? Yeah.
Doesn't matter if the snow is falling.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Rochelle. I have a problem with pretty books and I have a disability. And today what I thought we could do is maybe go over some reading goals that I have for the year of 2025. Now, every year I make a little bit of a mood board or a vision board, and I kind of like to go and print out a little version of it, and I'll usually put it somewhere in my phone as a wallpaper. And then I also like to put it on a board somewhere in my office. And this is one that I made last year. But this was my vision board for last year, and I'm definitely gonna make another one. And if you want me to, I can definitely walk you through like some of the things that came true from this vision board and what didn't. And I can also go and create a vision board with you as well if you think that's something that could be fun. So definitely let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, every year I make my own little vision board, little things that I'd like to manifest or hopefully achieve. And you know, depending on what you might think of these things actually come true, or it's just a bunch of hoopla, that's okay. It's something that I enjoy, and it's visually appealing as well to have something like this to look at and just kind of bring a smile to my face and like, oh yeah, that's something I'd like to work towards. So fun little project that I always like to do. But as far as certain things that I'd like to do on my channel, I have a little list of them all here. And one of them that I'd really like to do is I'd like to reread some book series that I grew up reading and that I really enjoyed and that I've just really been wanting to revisit this year. And one of them I believe I mentioned in the past, but it's The Hunger Games. I read the series when I was younger, and I think it definitely created my love of dystopian stories. And I'd love to reread it again, especially with the fact that there's these prequels out. I haven't watched the latest movie that came out just because I always prefer to read the book first, and especially with a series that I loved so much growing up, I'd like to go and reread it again just so that everything's fresh in my memory. And then another thing I'd like to do with that is probably rewatch the movies. I did really enjoy the movies, but I remember that there were certain bits that really bothered me and upset me, especially some details that I personally loved and wish that they would have kept in on the movie performance. And then the next book series that I would like to do this with is The Uglies. And I've been kind of a hit or miss on it because I did really love The Uglies when I was growing up, but someone that I saw on YouTube actually reread the first book and was kind of pointing out like little interesting pieces in the dialogue, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I'd enjoy rereading that. But at the same time, I kind of want to reread it just so that I can watch the movie that came out recently. I heard it's awful. I heard that there's a lot of things that don't line up at all, but I'm still curious, and I've really enjoyed doing the series that we've done this year. It's kind of evolved to the point where I originally started rereading books that I rated 5 stars, but at the same time, a lot of these books had movies, so I've kind of been doing a comparison on how accurate or how close is the book with the movie type of thing. And I've been having fun with that, and I think you have too. So I definitely want to continue doing that in the year of 2025. Then another goal I'd really like is to hit YouTube partner. Now, I've kind of hit a few certain requirements, but the one thing that I'm still a little bit behind on is watch hours. So it would be amazing if that's a goal that I can hit either at the beginning of 2024, because there's still a few weeks left, so I don't want to write it off completely, or hit it in 2025. Now, this little one is being so chaotic. Having a YouTube channel is something that I've always wanted to do. I have watched YouTube since I was in middle school, and I always went back and forth about what kind of channel I wanted to have or what I wanted to do. For a long time it was like, oh, maybe I'll do a beauty channel. But then I was like, I kind of just always do the basic look. Like, you see it all the time. I usually do my winged eyeliner and some foundation and stuff and kind of call it good. Every now and then I might have, you know, a different colored lip, but that's very rare. Oh. You are so noisy. Okay, so we're gonna hold Cicero because he's trying to mess with my camera. But I was thinking originally like I'd go and do a beauty channel, and then I kind of thought about like doing advice, especially for going into college. But then by the time I kind of thought about doing that, I was already a senior and about ready to graduate. So I was like, this isn't really relevant to my life anymore. And then I did think of vlogging, but as you might see, I don't always do stuff. I'm a bit of an introvert that stays home and doesn't ever leave my hobbit hole. So that was kind of a, I don't think so. And then this year, I fell back in love with reading after taking a break through college and kind of getting into this big reading slump because, you know, it's not fun to ever get told like what to read and have these assigned readings. So when it finally became something where I had control over again, I absolutely loved reading, as you can tell from all of my bookshelves now. But yeah, becoming a YouTube partner would be amazing. And so that's something I would definitely like to achieve, especially getting as close as I have and am now currently. And then another thing that I'd like to do, so if you look on my Goodreads, the amount of books that I've read is a little bit different than Storygraph. I kind of was like flopping in between and trying to translate the same data from both programs, but there's a few books that I kind of missed. So my Storygraph, I believe, is the one that has the most accurate number of how many books I've read, which is around 90. I still need to update one other book that I finished yesterday, which I'm very mad at the weather in Colorado because it is snowing and I've been wanting to do a fun series or video where I'm reading books involving blizzards and snow while it's snowing outside. And that's happening today, and I finished my book that was on my 10 before the end. But anyway, I would like to honestly read 100 books next year. Now that seems like a very high goal, but personally I feel like it's achievable. This year, just because I was just getting back into reading, I decided I was going to read 50 books. Well, I immediately surpassed that a lot sooner than I expected. And so I think I want to raise the bar and try to do 100. And if I don't reach it next year, then I might go for 75, somewhere in the middle, and we'll kind of see. But yeah, I'd like to challenge myself and try to read 100 books next year. And then another series that I'd really like to do is I'd like to do something that involves reading books off of my shelves. I know some people have like TBR carts and some people have different games. My bestie, Once Upon a Bookish Stuff, she does Tackle My TBR, and I love that series so much. And I know that there's another person, I think Becca with the Books, potentially. I might be getting the name wrong, but she has a Shelve It or Scrap It series. And so I'd kind of like to do something along those lines, but maybe not scrapping it and getting rid of any of my books. I feel like I've curated my bookshelves mostly to have the books that I like. I don't usually do unhauls, and that was why earlier this year I did my very first one. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to think of like a fun little game, but I'd like to incorporate something. And if you have any ideas or something you'd like to see me do, definitely put it in the comments below. But I'd like to do something a little bit different than doing like a TBR jar with prompts. I'd like to do something fun. So definitely let me know if you have any ideas, and I will also try to brainstorm as well. And then another item I have on my list is make a free little library. This has been something I've wanted to do for the longest time, and I think it would be so cute and so fun. But number one, I need to make sure that everything works with the HOA with where I live now. We do live in a house that has an HOA, so I want to make sure I'm not, breaking any rules or doing anything that's not allowed. And also, then I have to figure out with the free little library, is it something that I'm going to include in videos? So we'll see, we'll go there. But yeah, it definitely has been a thought that I've been thinking about quite often. And then the last one I'd like to do is to try to save some money as far as reading. I love doing my book hauls, and I think that I have a lot of people that watch my videos that enjoy those book hauls as well. But Charles and I would like to go and get our wedding stuff figured out. We're thinking of aiming for 2026, and so with that being said, I need to be a little bit more financially smart. I'll still try to go to like thrift stores or things like that, but as far as doing huge book hauls, that might be something that decreases next year on my channel. even though I've been using Book Outlet, and Book Outlet honestly is the best place to go and buy books, especially in a large amount. But yeah, I think I want to try to use Kindle Unlimited and utilize that a little bit more, especially knowing how many books they've added to their online library that you can go and read. So I definitely would like to utilize that, and also get a library card. I have not gotten a library card in Colorado. I think I still have mine from South Dakota. So I'd like to do that and try to utilize Libby as well. I don't think I can get to the point where I can borrow physical books from a library. I've just been so triggered and ruined by the awful experience I had many, many years ago. So I think at least like virtually borrowing books is something that will be a little bit easier for me to do, especially with my little germaphobe ways when it comes to borrowing books. But yeah, those are some of my reading goals that I have for the year of 2025. I feel like a lot of them are very achievable and not reaching too far. So I do like the fact that there are things that I can easily check off and not something that is going to be hovering over my head where it's like, are you actually going to do this? Or are you just saying this, you know? But if you have any fun reading goals, I'd definitely love to hear them. And also let me know if you'd like to hear anything about the mood board that I made last year and how it turned out. And if you want me to make a mood board with you all here on my channel as well. I love mood boards or vision boards, whichever words you want to call them. So I'm more than happy to go and film something for the channel as well. Those are my goals, and that will be wrapping up our next day of Bookmas. So I hope you all enjoy, and as always, always remember that you're worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye, friends.